गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परम ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Okay, so now we had completed the test sessions on Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Today we'll begin on Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, Yaj Yoga. Seems there is some problem with the battery of my computer. It's only 75%, and for some reason that charger is not working, it seems. I hope,
75% is good enough, Swamiji.
yeah, so I hope it covers our time.
Yeah.
So now, first, Dhyan Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga or Raj Yoga. Now, the general question on this is, what is, how do we define meditation, or how can we explain in a simple way meditation? Pankaj Bhai.
Swamiji, we are starting from the 11th chapter, right?
We are
11 shloka.
11th shloka, yeah, but before that, some general questions on Dhyan Yoga.
Yeah, meditation is when we concentrate on single subject
Mm-hmm.
and then it is known as dhyana, Swamiji. And that object should not be should be the self.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it should not be an object which is external, but the concentration on the subject, Swamiji, that is self or pure consciousness.
That is meditation. Any simple way of explaining meditation?
Can I, Swamiji?
Okay, go ahead.
It is a journey from ignorance to knowledge without distance. Myself to myself, journey of myself to myself without distance.
This is a good definition. So this is, in a simple way, if we have to define meditation or explain meditation, so it is a journey which begins from where we are right now and ends in where we have always been. So it is a journey without distance. It is from ignorance to knowledge, seeing for the first time what we have always been looking at. So that is a good way of explaining meditation. Then the next general question on this Dhyana Yoga is, what are the three stages of meditation as per Ashtanga Yoga, with brief explanation of each? So, who will answer this? Prakash Bhai?
It is dharana, dhyana, and samadhi.
So, what is dharana, what is dhyana, and what is samadhi?
Dharana is to make mind single pointed. Dhyana is transit the identity with the body, mind, and intellect. And samadhi is the timeless state of dhyana.
Oh, that's good. So this was the general question on this Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga or Raj Yoga. Now we'll begin with the 11th shloka of this Dhyana Yoga. Vayurodhanat liyate mana jala pakshivat rodha sadhana. Now based on this shloka, the first question is, what is the relationship between mana and prana? Kshama Amma.
One minute, Swamiji. Mind, mind and the prana, you said, Swamiji.
Yeah. The mind and the prana, the relationship between mind and prana.
Mind is a connection between the two.
Connection between which two?
Mind and the gross
Mind
body.
and the
Mind and the, sorry, prana is actually subtler than the gross body, I think. And it is a connection between prana and mind.
mind is subtler than gross body, and it is a connection between prana and mind.
It's the connection between the two.
Which two?
Physical body and mind.
Yeah.
Prana is subtler than the
Gross
gross
body.
body, yeah, and it is grosser than the mind, isn't it? So it is in between the mind and the body. It is a connection between the two, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, so then, though mind is subtler than the prana, and pranas are grosser than the mind, but mind is, of course, subtler than the gross body. So, of course, the modifications of the mind affects the prana also. And of course, the vice versa goes on. Now, the next question on this particular shloka is, how does pranayam help in controlling the mind, and what are its limitations? With example.
Swamiji,
Yes.
prana, prana and the mind, they are like the two branches of a tree.
No, that will come later on. Now, this is in simple terms. So, how does the pranayam help in controlling the mind, and explain the limitations also?
Yeah. So
with example.
pranam is the breath. When the breath is controlled, then mind also becomes quiet. The frequency of thoughts are reduced, and ultimately mind becomes quiet with the control of the prana.
Pranas. And then, what are its limitations?
Limitation.
Swami, can I say?
Yeah.
It is temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary. Jala pakshivat rodha sadhana, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, now pranayam does help. With the help of the pranas, the subtler mind can be brought under control through pranayam practice, no doubt. But, and then mind becomes extremely single pointed in Keval Kumbhaka state. Keval Kumbhaka, where there is everything stops. There is neither inhalation nor exhalation nor Kumbhaka nor holding the breath outside or holding the breath inside, nothing, it just stops like that. So, but through pranayam, this can be achieved, no doubt. But like Ramana Maharshi also says, he talks about prana vikshana. Prana vikshana is the observation of the pranas, observation of the respiration that is going on. So, and in Kriya Yoga also they talk about Anulom Vilom Prana Shuddhi Kriya that we have seen. But then pranayam practice, when it is stopped, the mind will revert to its original state again, back to its own state. So this is the limitation of this pranayam. As long as, so how long we can keep doing pranayam to keep the mind under control? There is a limitation. So therefore, like the Jala Pakshivat, the example that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gives in this shloka, Jala Pakshivat, Rodha Sadhana. So it is temporary. There are other practices also given in Hatha Yoga. They have given the practice of Jyoti Trataka. Jyoti Trataka is also a very good practice to make the mind single pointed. And the effect lasts beyond the practice in Jyoti Trataka. Regularly, if somebody does Jyoti Trataka and if they can do for 5 minutes, the mind will attain a tremendous amount of concentration level and single pointedness. So, that is also an excellent practice. Now, having discussed that, we move on to the next shloka, shloka 12. And shloka 12, Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi says, चित्तवायवश चित क्रिया युता शाखयोः द्वयी shakti mulaka. So, based on this shloka, what is the relationship between the mind and the prana given here? Prakash bhai?
Mind and prana are controlled by consciousness.
Can be controlled.
So, what more can we add to that?
Chitta is a mind and chitta is awareness. And kriya is the energizing force. So mind and prana are controlled by the consciousness. Relations between mind and prana. Prana is the kriya shakti. And body is alive with the help of prana.
So these are the two shaktis. So the relationship between the mind and the prana is, there is Chaitanya Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Chit Shakti we can call it. Chit Shakti or Chaitanya Shakti or consciousness. So mind is endowed with consciousness. Chit Shakti or Chaitanya Shakti. And prana is endowed with Kriya Shakti. And what is the important part of this? Are they two coming from two different sources?
Can I reply? Can I reply, Swami?
Okay, go ahead.
They are coming from the same source, and that source is pure consciousness.
So they are the two branches of the same source. But the prana shakti as well as the kriya shakti as well as the chit shakti, and they come from Ishvara. So therefore they are the two branches. So the source is the same. Two branches. Now the next question on the same shloka is, how does the consciousness express through prana? Shama Amma?
Actually, because of the gross body appears alive due to prana. So
as Kriya Shakti.
We can have, so whatever the energy that we have is all due to that, due to the
Kriya Shakti.
Energizing force.
The Kriya Shakti.
Kriya Shakti.
Anything further you can add to that? In what way it expresses in our body, this Kriya Shakti of the pranas?
All the Pancha Pranas, Swamiji, function due
Pancha
to that.
Pranas, okay, good. So the Pancha Pranas, can you put more light on that Pancha Pranas? Which prana does what?
Pancha Prana, Prana, Apana, Udana, Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, and Samana. These are the Pancha Pranas. Sorry.
Yeah, so what do they do?
Prana is the Jivan Shakti. Apana is the actually it gives out what is unwanted.
So it is it controls the excretory processes.
Excretory process.
Then Samana Vayu.
Samana helps in digestive forces.
Digest
the food.
Production of nutrients. And then Vyana,
Vyana,
Vayu.
it supplies the nutrients to the different parts of the body.
And then Udana Vayu.
And Udana, it removes, I think, the false energy, something that is not required.
So we move towards new knowledge.
Yes, it gives yes, Swamiji. We move towards the new knowledge and it removes the false
Which
energy.
destroys or false or wrong notions.
Concepts, notions, yeah.
False or wrong notion. That is what Udan Vayu does. So then the next question is, how does the consciousness express through the mind? Pankaj Bhai. Pankaj Bhai is there?
Yeah. Pankaj.
Swamiji, I'm sorry, I was muted.
Oh, okay.
I was coughing, so therefore I.
Okay. So the question is, how does the consciousness express through mind?
The function of the mind is to understand the perceptions, perceived message when they are received. At that time, mind tries to analyze and understand the perceptory message that is received through the senses.
Anything else can be added to that?
Swamiji, God is at the base of everything. God is at the base of everything.
God is at the base.
At the base of all the above these powers.
Yeah, but now the question is, how does the consciousness express through the mind?
Can I say something?
Okay, go ahead.
Mind is a Gnana Shakti and a Prana is a Kriya Shakti. And root of both of these Shakti is Ishvara.
No, now the thing is, we have already done that. The source and all that thing, that is gone. Now the question is, how does the consciousness express through the mind? Now Pankaj Bhai said that, of course, we know so many things. So that is through Jnana Shakti. So consciousness expresses through mind as Jnana Shakti. So Jnana Shakti is now, knowingness comes from that, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is how the senses perceive the objects. But of course, senses can't know the object, it only perceives it. Mind alone knows and understands those objects, isn't it? So the consciousness is expressing through mind as Jnana Shakti. So senses perceives the object and then the mind knows and understands those objects and also recalls from the memory the previous experience of those objects and so on. So this is how it is. Now the question was that how does the consciousness express to the mind? So consciousness expresses to the mind as Jnana Shakti. That is knowing and understanding the objects perceived by the senses. Now, the next question on the same shloka is, how does the mind and the prana affect each other?
Swamiji,
Yes.
there is a close relation between these two. We have observed in our life that when mind is agitated, there is the prana, that is inhalation and exhalation, breath is also affected. If we get angry or say angry, excited, the breathing also will be very the frequency increases, Swamiji. And when the mind is very quiet and serene, at that time our breathing is very slow and disciplined, Swamiji. So there is a close relationship between the prana and the mind.
So when the mind is agitated or angry or scared, so the prana rate of our breathing also increases. And when the mind is quietened, then the rate of breathing also normalizes. It becomes normal. So therefore, pranayam can help in controlling the mind to a certain extent because of their relationship in such a way. So now,
Swamiji,
yes.
here there is one line which I do not understand.
What is that?
The root of both, meaning prana and the mind, the root of the both, the power is Maya, which is the power of the Lord.
Hmm.
So what is this, Swamiji?
The root of both the two Shaktis, the Jnana Shakti, the Chaitanya Shakti, and the Kriya Shakti. So prana activizes, whereas with the Chaitanya Shakti, there is knowing, power of knowing. Knowingness comes through Chaitanya Shakti. So Chaitanya Shakti works through the mind and knows the things outside, whereas Kriya Shakti is required for activity. So activizing power is that. Now the root of both has to be the same source. There cannot be two different sources and then Kriya Shakti is coming from one or some other source and then Chaitanya Shakti coming from some other source. It can't be that. Because in Advaita, everything boils down to only one. So here now, Ishvara is the source of both Kriya Shakti and Chaitanya Shakti. As regards pure self is concerned, it has got nothing to know and nothing to do. Who needs to do any action? Not a Shuddha Chaitanya, pure self or Brahman. No, because it has got nothing to do, nowhere to go. So it doesn't need any Kriya Shakti. It has got nothing to know also. So it doesn't need any Chaitanya Shakti also to know anything. Because other than itself, nothing else is there. So this is only in the relative existence, these two Shaktis are there, which is coming from Ishvara. Ishvara being the Samashti. So it comes from Ishvara, and these two Shaktis are then utilized for activity as well as for knowing things in this world, the Srishti. That is what the relationship is between the two. As regards the Supreme Self is concerned, it doesn't need any Kriya Shakti or the Chaitanya Shakti because it has got nothing to do, nothing to know, because other than itself, nothing exists. So what is there to know? Nothing. Pure awareness alone, thought-free, objectless, blissful awareness.
So Swamiji, can I presume when I am in a thought-free state, it is the only consciousness which remains, which is my true nature.
Yeah. In the waking plane of consciousness, if you are in a thought-free state and you don't fall asleep, so you are closest, you are the pure self then. Because
this is
that is,
beautiful, Swamiji.
yeah, then you are the pure self because it is objectless. Thought-free. Thought-free means it is already objectless. Because thought is related to the object only. So it is already objectless, thought-free. And then what remains is the pure self. Then you are your real self. Nothing other than that.
So thought-free state in the waking state. Thought-free state in the waking
in
state.
the waking plane of, because we are thought in deep sleep state also.
Yeah. So that
is in ignorance.
Deep sleep, ignorant here, Acha. Swamiji, this is beautiful. Then I think what is really required is the removal of all the vasanas. That is the only thing left, isn't it?
It is only a thin veiling is there, that's all. That veiling has to be get rid of. That's all that is there. But that takes millions of lives. By the time we realize that what foolish things we have been doing, taking form and discarding form, again taking form and discarding form, until one day we sit and realize that what nonsense is going on. So this is what it is. To say it is very simple.
Yeah.
And it is very simple actually. That is what Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi says. The simplest thing is, now Jnana Yoga is very difficult for many people. But Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi says that is the most easiest thing. Just who am I? That is all you need to investigate. But that doesn't come so easily to most of the people. It's not that easy. Because most of us are not contemplative also. Viveka has not awakened. Unless that Viveka awakens, we don't question things that are going around us. What is happening, the experiences that we go through and the things that are going around us in our environment and things like that, we don't question so many things that are happening there. Why it is happening? What is the root of that? The joys and sorrows and miseries and pain and things like that, they come and go. And if you look at the body also, that is another big useless thing. Once you start realizing that actually we have been a servant serving this body for since birth, giving it bath, taking it to the washroom and what nonsense, feeding it, and then again several times take it to the washroom and all that thing. So which fool will take this and be a slave?
Swamiji, can I ask you one question?
Yes, go ahead.
Since we have the paroksha knowledge, right now we do have paroksha jnana. How long will it take for the aparoksha bodh?
So, yeah, we have paroksha jnana. That needs to be converted into aparoksha bodha. So, aparoksha bodha also happens when we are in continuous contemplation, when the mind is withdrawn from the external world, then and more we dwell on the self only. Because mind has got nowhere to go. Now it is turned inwards, antarmukha. So, antarmukha, there is nothing but the self only. Bahirmukha mind observes so many things and gets lost in all those things. But when it is antarmukha, then it has got nothing else but the self. It takes time again and again. Sometimes we get a glimpse and then it goes away. Then a firm abidance will come over a period of time. Then it doesn't matter what happens. That's it. Even when we get a glimpse also, that itself is a very beautiful moment. It may be for very short period also, it doesn't matter. But then it gives us that that inspiration to continue and have a firm abidance in that which we got, even if it was for a few moments, whatever it may be, the glimpse of that absolute pure self of our own reality.
Swamiji, that means that there should be a firm conviction that I am the 10th man.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Conviction has to come, and when we do contemplation, the conviction has to come. Now we have got so many other things we have done. We have studied so many scriptures, and then time and again in different scriptures, in different ways, they have told us what we are in reality, and different ways they have given us steps for contemplation also. And then slowly we come to realize that we can never be what we have been thinking ourselves to be. The body, the sense organs, the pranas, the mind and its contents called the emotions, feelings and sentiments, or the intellect and its contents called the thoughts. None of this can I ever be. Again and again. And then you start having a sakshi bhava for this panchakosha. As if it is some third person, of the third entity or some other entity. It's not you. Other than something like that, other than your own self, the real self. So this is
Thank you
what
very
it
much.
is.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Swamiji.
So then we move on to the next shloka, shloka 13. Actually, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi has even said this to his devotees and disciples once, that if you get even a glimpse of that absolute, even for a few moments also, none of you will remain here. So now we move on to the 13th shloka, which says, लय विनाशने उभय रोधने लय गतम पुनः bhavati no mrutam. So based on this, now the question comes, what are the two states of mind mentioned here? Explain with example. Oh, Prakash bhai.
One is the positive mind and second one is the negative mind. Now,
Laya vinashane laya ubhaya rodhane. So
the destruction of the mind is manolaya, anitya, and manonasha is nitya, are controlled by the prana and negation of the mind.
So these are the two things. And can you give an example between manolaya and manonasha?
Manolaya is a mind which is absorbed will become active again. Like a person is sleeping and he wakes up and the person is dead. He never wakes up. So
manonasha is like a dead body.
Dead body.
So prana nirodha is manolaya and mano nirodha is manonasha. So laya is always anitya, temporary. Nasha is permanent. It is nitya. So like the man who is sleeping, he can wake up anytime. But one who is dead, a dead body can't wake up. That's it. So it is permanent. It is nitya. So that is the difference between the two. Now, the next question on the same shloka is, explain, will manonasha destroy our dealings with the Jagat? Shama Amma?
It can, but it will be temporary.
Manonasha, will it destroy our dealings with the Jagat?
Manolaya will be temporary. Manonasha will, it will destroy permanently.
It will destroy our dealings with the world permanently.
It will not destroy the dealings of our world with permanently, but it will. Although you will be in the world and doing everything, but your concentration will be only on your true self.
Anything more you can add to that?
So that mind, it will not go after the happiness of the world to get the happiness of the world. It will be always concentrating on the true self. When a person has manonasha.
So manonasha, and will it destroy our dealings with the world? So what aspect of the mind gets destroyed? Whether the mind gets totally destroyed, if it gets totally destroyed, our dealings with the world also will get destroyed, or any particular aspect of the mind that gets destroyed? Anything like that?
Actually, it gets because of the knowledge that he has, because of the knowledge of self that he gets. He is not attracted towards the happiness or of the world, to get the happiness of the world. He may be interacting with everybody like yogis, but his concentration is always on his true self. His activities of the karmas that he does, they are not binding to him, or they are not for his own self happiness or something. It is only for the good of the people, for his devotees or everybody.
Swamiji, can I reply?
Okay, go ahead.
Our dealings with the world will remain as it is. It will not be destroyed. Only the approach, only the attitude will change. How? Then see what happens that normally we are in search of happiness. And we find that the happiness lies in the objects of this world, relationship, things, situation, in that, and we try to derive that happiness, forgetting the fact that this happiness, I am the happiness. So in search of happiness, my search was in the things, situation, and the objects. So that will stop, Swamiji. That happiness is me, myself only. It is something like when a tent man discovers that I am the tent man, he will stop searching outside. Uh, in technically speaking, Swamiji, his sanchit karma will be totally destroyed at the time of Manonash. Then he'll be still he will remain engaged in this world uh, like before, but not for himself. But whatever that happens through his actions will be good for mankind, Swamiji.
Okay.
This is what I understand, Swamiji.
Anyone can add anything more to that?
See, can I say something?
Okay, go ahead.
The one mind through the sense organs experiences the objects of the world, and it's not to be destroyed. But the second mind, having the knowledge of the world with the multiple sankalpa, vikalpa, and vasana, can alive and become active, will give us a sukh and dukha, causes attachment and bondage, sorrows and pain. This has to be destroyed.
So this part of the mind gets destroyed. So the two aspects of the mind, one mind that knows the objects perceived by the senses, it remembers the experiences, has the memory also, understandings and things like that. So by Manonasha, that aspect of the mind is not destroyed. So what is destroyed is the after gaining the knowledge, so then the aneka multiple sankalpa vikalpas, and then of course the attachment, and then the bondage which causes attachment and bondage, and so on, raga dvesha, likes and dislikes, and so on. That aspect of the mind gets destroyed. So the mind has got positive and negative aspects. The one aspect is only perceiving and gaining knowledge, understanding and things like that. The other aspect is having gained the knowledge, then keep brooding on that, and then having desire for that, or having likes and dislikes about it. When the mind observes everything and remains neutral, it is not affected. The other mind, the negative mind, which gets affected by everything that it perceives through the senses, then that is the aspect of the mind that gets destroyed when it is said that manonasha. So the dealings with the world will continue. There is no problem with that. The only thing is that that the negative aspect of the mind which causes all the trouble, the attachments, likes, dislikes, bondages, that is what gets destroyed with manonasha. So obviously, when we are in that bliss, we are not interested in anything of limited pleasure or enjoyment outside in the outside world. So it is only this manonasha is the nasha actually of the ignorance. What is really meant by manonasha is the destruction of the ignorance of our own real self. Because when the ignorance is destroyed, then we'll not be interested in the external world at all. And we'll be, of course, dealing with the external world, but we'll have no interest at all. Because why we are interested in the external world? Just to derive some kind of happiness, to eke out some kind of fleeting, momentary, ephemeral joy, pleasure, or happiness out of that. Now, when we are in the infinite bliss, what do we need to do with the external world? So, dealings will be there, but the involvement in that will not be there. That which causes the bondage and things, that won't be there because we are into our own bliss. So actually, if you look at it, it is the destruction of the ignorance of our own real self. But the negative mind is, of course, doesn't know our Swarupa, which is of infinite bliss. And therefore it will go and then like something, dislike something, desire something, and so on. It will happen like that because of its own ignorance. So, and then of course gets bound and then suffers all that thing is happening. While of course the positive mind needed to transact in this world, for the transactions in the world, that will continue because it doesn't get affected without causing any modifications. It will remain. So now the next question on the same shloka is, give an example of manolaya and manonasha.
Swami, can I say?
Yeah.
Manolaya, the example is dream. You may get a very bad dream and temporarily you may be affected by the dream. But the moment you get up from the dream, you realize that no, it was a dream. So, and this can happen again also. Again also you may have a bad dream and you will be affected. But in Manonasha, the example is given the curdling of the milk, where the reverse process is not possible. Where the milk once curdled cannot become milk again. So the person who has got this Manonasha, his ignorance is totally destroyed, and so he is fully concentrated on the true self only, and he will not go back to this Maya, worldly attachments and desires and miseries.
So Manolaya is like the dream state or deep sleep state, because eventually we'll come to waking plane of consciousness. So that is the problem with Manolaya. But Manonasha, the better example is milk once curdled, then it cannot be converted back to milk. That's it. Finish. The game is over. But every time we go to sleep, we have a dream. Then, of course, then we break the dream and come to the waking plane of consciousness. Or we, even if we go to deep sleep state also, then we again come to waking plane of consciousness or a dream state of consciousness. That will go on. So that is the example for Manolaya. For Manonasha, this milk converted into curd, that is the best example, where the curds cannot be reconverted back to milk. So now we move on to the next shloka, shloka 14. Pranabandhanat leena manasam ekachintanat nasham iti adaha. Nasham iti adaha. So based on this 14 shloka, now the first question. Explain pranabandhanat leena manasam. Pankaj bhai.
My restraint of mind, uh, there is a manolaya happens. But after the manolaya, what is required is contemplation on the one which is formless. What we call it a subjective awareness.
No, here the question is, explain pranabandhanat leena manasam.
That regulation of breath will help us to manolaya, Swamiji. That is what he says. Pranabandhanat leena manasam.
So, pranabandhanat leena manasam. Anything else can be added to that?
Oh, Swamiji, that is the main thing.
Anyone else wants to add to that?
Swami, can you say the question again?
The question is, explain pranabandhanat leena manasam.
So the mind gets destroyed by contemplating on one, or that supreme reality. So what we have to do is, our mind goes on all the objects of the world. So what we have to do is to try to illuminate the thoughts which go on the objects of the world, And once you concentrate on that, on the illumination of what illumines the objects of the world and not the objects of the world, then you can do this ekachitta. Your concentration will be something like that. So,
Anyone else? Prakash Bhai wants to add anything?
With the restraint of the mind, with the restraint by the pran, mind can be absorbed. Then the mind has to be focused on an contemplation of one.
So now here, prana bandhanat lina manasam. First we need to understand is that mind expresses as thoughts, which in turn is urged by vasanas, isn't it? So this process is energized by pranas. Now, duality manifests in the active mind, isn't it? So the ignorant mind divides this active mind and an ignorant mind. So this divides the entire creation into duality. And this is what the problem is. Now what happens in prana bandhanat? In prana bandhanat, the rajasic aspect of the mind is reduced or subdued, one can say, and then sattvic aspect comes to the fore in prana bandhana. And then, so this is what called as manolaya. And there is no, of course, in manolaya also there is no dvaita. And the good example is the deep sleep state. That is also manolaya. There is no thoughts there also. So there are no projections, no thoughts, and therefore no duality also. So it is the active, ignorant mind that projects the duality. So prana bandhanat lina manasam. So there is a manolaya in prana bandhan also, but that is temporary. But there is no duality there. Even nidra, deep sleep state also, there is manolaya in that. So there are no thoughts, no duality, nothing there. But then again, it is only temporary. So it is the active, ignorant mind only that projects the duality. And temporarily, when it becomes inactive in the deep sleep state, then there is no duality. So we have to understand here is that in prana bandhana, the rajasic aspect of the mind is subdued and the sattvic aspect comes to fore, though it is only a temporary state. And therefore, like in the deep sleep state, there is no duality seen in that. But again, this is again a temporary state only, not a permanent one. Now, the next, the same shloka is explain ekachintanat nasham iti adaha. Ekachintanat nasham iti eta adaha. Pankaj bhai?
Yeah, Swamiji says it means that when the contemplation is done on one, what one gets is a manonasha. Now, how? When the thoughts arise in the mind, from the perception of this world, there are many thoughts on depending upon the object and your vasanas. But what we have to do,
thoughts.
Yes, Swamiji.
Many objects and many thoughts.
Many objects, many thoughts. But the one who experiences is one. That is mind. But the mind is doesn't have any capacity. It's an inert. It is an inert. It derives its its energy, or it energized or illumined by the pure consciousness. So the contemplation has to be done, remove the multiple thoughts and objects and turn inward and concentrate on the self. Now, Swamiji, self doesn't have any form. So this mind will be, which is a product of the ignorance. We saw sometimes back that it's a Maya Shakti of the pure consciousness. So what it happens that without the object, it merges into the source. And this, when it is merged in the source, that is pure consciousness, by continuous contemplation on that, one gets the Manonasha. Many years back, I heard Swamiji about that there is a wasp and the worm. That when the Swamiji, you can narrate in a better way than what I can.
That is the Brahmara Kitaka.
Brahmana Kitaka Nyaya, Swamiji.
Brahmara Kitaka Nyaya. So that is a classic example that is given in our scriptures, Brahmara Kitaka Nyaya. So that is the contemplation has to be there. Now here, Eka Chintanat Nasham Etadaha. Anybody else likes to add anything to that?
Can I say something, Swami?
Okay, go ahead.
That is when you constantly contemplate on that I am that awareness, that yourself, then what happens is that the worldly thoughts or their mind will not go on the objects of the world or the Maya of the world. But it will be always on. So what we need is to contemplate all the time continuously that I am that awareness.
This continuous contemplation has to be there. Eka doesn't mean that any one object you can focus, because there are too many objects also, isn't it? So, and then too many thoughts are also there, too many, mind also contains too many emotions. So it is not focusing on one object or one thought or one emotion. There are too many of them are there. It is not that. So the important thing is that Eka Chintana, we have to understand this very clearly. The objects are many, thoughts are many, emotions are many, so many of them are there. But the illuminator of all these is just one I, isn't it? Illuminator and the knower of all the objects, all the thoughts, all the emotions is just one pure self. That's it. So this one pervades all and is the substratum of everything. So pervades everything, substratum of everything. So this one indestructible, not subject to any modification, exists in the absence of everything else also, in the absence of objects, thoughts and emotions and so on. It continues existence because it is the illuminator of everything. So in the calm mind, the chintanam has to be on this, on I am, that Chaitanya Swarupa. That will only destroy the ignorance of our own self. And with continuous contemplation on this one, the seeker finally abides in his own real self. Swarupa. It is this constant awareness of that all-pervading entity. Like while watching a movie, if that awareness of screen is always there, then any play of light and sound on the screen will not make us, will not get carried away by that. If that awareness of the screen is not there, then we get carried away by what is happening on the screen. But with the background screen, the awareness is there, then we don't get carried away by what is happening there. So, this is an important aspect to be understood. The destruction of that impurity or negativity of the mind is, of course, the annihilation or destruction of the duality existing. That is only in our own mind, the duality is there. So that needs to be understood very clearly. So Eka Chintanat Nasham. So this Eka Chintan is very important. Then only there is the destruction.
Swamiji, I want to add one sentence.
Okay, go ahead.
In this process, knower, known, and knowing, they are absorbed in the pure consciousness, which is a substratum of this three, Swamiji.
All the triputis, all the dualities, all the dualism gets absorbed in the self. And there is no knower known and the process of knowing. The triputi is not there. Then only pure awareness remains. So, Eka Chintanat Nashametada. Now, we move on to the next shloka 15. In this, Nashtamanasa Utkrishta Yoginaha Prutyamasti Kim Swasthitim Yataha. So, based on this, the first question is, who is an Utkrishta Yoginaha? An exalted yogi. Pankaj bhai.
One who has destroyed his ignorance about himself and
About duality.
huh?
About duality.
And Swamiji, repeat the question.
The repeat is, now in this shloka, Ramana Maharshi mentions about Utkrishta Yogina, Nashtamanisa Utkrishta Yogina. Who is an Utkrishta Yogina, exalted yogi?
Yeah, he is the one who has destroyed his ignorance about himself, his true self. He's an exalted yogi, Swamiji.
So he has destroyed his ignorance of his own real self. So with that, he has also destroyed his mind and he is abiding in his own self. So he is an Utkrishta Yogina. Utkrishta Yogi is not the one who can do some asana or pranayama or something like that. So the real yogi is the one who has destroyed his own ignorance of his own self. Ignorance of his own self. So here, anything else can be added?
Swamiji, can I say something?
Okay, go ahead.
He has destroyed his ignorance, as Pankaj said, by ekachintanam, by thinking by thinking that he is that awareness, pure awareness. And so he has no duality or no sukha dukha, or his mind doesn't go on anything in this world to get the sukha and dukha, because he knows that these are all temporary. And he also doesn't have this karta bhokta bhav or ego.
Yeah, because ego is not there. So his aham vritti, that ego is also not there. Therefore, there is no karta bhokta bhava also. There is no karta bhokta entity in there. So then, having said that, now next question is, how does such an Utkrishta yogi live? Prakash bhai.
He has no duty to be performed or to be done. Karma happens spontaneously, and it is his inner bliss. And this is benefited for the other in the world. And that's the same, that there is no ego and there is no karta bhokta bhava to him.
So he has got nothing to do, nowhere to go. Because generally actions are to gain happiness. Now he is already in his infinite blissful state. He doesn't have to gain anything from the external world. Isn't it? But of course, we go outside into the world, we have desires. The very cause of desire is because we feel ourselves to be incomplete, apurna, incomplete. And therefore, desire arises. The very fact, the moment a desire arises, that is an indicator that we feel that we are incomplete. And then to complete ourselves, the desire arises. If no desire arises, that means we are complete. The very fact that the desire arises, that means we are incomplete. So fulfill the desires, then we go outside in the outside world, that we should get something from the outside world. So this is the problem. But here now, Utkrishta Yoginaha, he has destroyed his ignorance, abides in his pure self, has no duties to perform, no desires whatsoever. Doing is, of course, to gain happiness. He is in infinite bliss, so there is nothing for him to do. So, therefore, one who has realized that Paramananda Swarupa, there is no duties to perform. But of course, he still does something out spontaneously for the welfare of the world as an expression of his own Atmananda, inner blissful state. So, this is how he lives. Nashtamanasa Utkrishta Yogina Krutyamasti Kim Swasthitim Yatah. So, he has got no duties, but he will not remain idle. His actions will be spontaneous, and that too for the benefit of the world. So, then now we move on to the next shloka, shloka 16. This is the concluding shloka of this Dhyana Yoga. Drishyavaritam chittam atmanah chitva tattva. Now, based on this shloka, shloka 16, explain Drishyavaritam chittam atmanah. So, Drishyavaritam chittam atmanah. Pankaj bhai.
It says that this is how to contemplate. So this is a very important instruction provided by Bhagavan. You see, what he says from the scene, turn your focus to the seer. This is what it says.
Drishyavaritam.
So from the scene to the seer, and seer is you are the seer, and in that seer you eliminate the objects, physical body, mind, intellect, ego, everything, and bring your focus to the subjective awareness, and that will help us to. That is the way of contemplation. This is what Bhagavan guides us.
Anything else can be added to that? Prakash bhai?
The withdrawal of mind from the external world, and then a vision of chitta, pure awareness, that is vision of reality.
So withdrawal of the mind from the external world. How do we withdraw that? So many objects are there, so many thoughts are there, but the seer or the knower is only one. So withdrawing the mind from the objects and the thoughts to the seer or the knower, the one, Chaitanya Swarupa. So of course, objects and thoughts, they keep on changing, but the seer or the knower doesn't change. So self is the one alone. So due to the mind being extrovert, bahirmukha, it keeps running into the external world. So therefore, our mind is focused outside objects and not on the self. So we have to turn it inwards, make it antarmukha. So sadhana is to have a sakshi bhava first and then drushyavaritam, and then withdraw the mind from the drishyas, all that is seen. So drushyavaritam. So we have to withdraw the mind from the external world, have a sakshi bhava, and then shift the focus from the objects to the thoughts of the object first, and then from the thoughts of the object to the illuminator, that which illumines the thoughts of the objects. That is the pure self alone. So that is pure consciousness that illumines the thoughts of the objects and so on. So this is the Chitva Darshanam and Tattva Darshanam. Chitva Darshanam and Tattva Darshanam. The pure awareness, pure self. And it is Tattva Darshanam. That is, Tattva Darshanam is the vision of reality. Tattva Darshanam. If you remember, Ekachintanat, if we go further a little bit, if you remember in Atma Bodha, there is a Dhyana Shloka before the text begins. Does any of you remember that?
Very difficult question.
I'll give a hint. Pratasmaramirudhi sanspuradhatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptimavaiti Nityam Tad Brahmanish Kalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangha Tad Brahmanish Kalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangha. This is the Dhyana Shloka before the proper text of Atma Bodha begins. So this is, in a way, Eka Chintan can be done on that. Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangha. Pratasmarami. In the early hours, I meditate. Pratasmarami. Sanspuradhatma Tattvam. So I meditate upon the essential self, clearly experienceable in the heart cave, the spiritual heart cave. Vriddhi Sanspuradhatma Tattvam. Satchit Sukham. So that which is of the nature of Satchidananda. The nature. Satchit Sukham. Paramahamsa. So that which is supreme goal. Paramahamsa Gatim. Turiyam. Turiyam. That is beyond the three planes of consciousness, the fourth state. Turiyam. And then and Satchit Sukham. Turiyam. Yat Swapna Jagara Sushupti Mameti Nityam. That which illumines that Swapna, Jagrat Avastha, Sushupti Avastha, and Swapna Avastha. Nityam. Constantly. It illumines these three planes of consciousness. So, these three states of consciousness, and of course, their experiences also. Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. And then, Tad Brahma Nishkalam, that Brahma Nishkalam. Nishkalam means partless. Nishkalam. Partless. There are no parts to that. Homogeneous. One. No parts to that. And then, Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham. Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. Not the assembly of this Panchamahabhuta. So this Eka Chintanam, Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham, Nacha Bhuta Sangha. I am that Nishkalam, not the assembly of this Panchamahabhuta. So, Chitva Darshanam, Tattva Darshanam. So, Eka Chintana, this is the Eka Chintan that has to be constantly going on. This is a beautiful Dhyana Shloka which comes in our Atma Bodha. It is actually not in Atma Bodha. In fact, in the beginning, they have given the shloka before the proper text. Of course, we did Atma Bodha. That is the first text we did when the lockdown started. Of course,
Yes.
but I didn't do that Atma Bodha for you from the beginning. Only some 22 shlokas were over. Then only I was told to continue with that.
Yes, Swamiji. And Swamiji, we started with the question because late Magaiji asked the question: Is God active or passive?
Aha.
And
Okay.
then that was the first question he asked in our study circle. And then
Aha.
I talked to you, and then that was the beginning of our study circle in 2020.
In the lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll conclude the session now.
Swamiji,
Yes.
this contemplation,
Hmm.
as I understand, is presupposes the Sakshi Bhav.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, then Sakshi Bhav presupposes that something is before you and you
Hmm.
become Sakshi. Say
Hmm.
thought. Ultimately,
Hmm.
all objects turn into the thoughts, and I am a Sakshi to that thought.
Hmm.
Now, with Chitvanashanam,
Hmm.
thought also disappears.
Hmm.
So, Sakshi Bhav also ends, isn't
Hmm.
it?
Right.
And what remains is a subjective awareness, which cannot be defined by anything.
Yeah, Sakshi Bhav has to end. Sakshi means I am the witness and I am witnessing something. When there is nothing else other than I, that
Hmm.
Sakshi Bhav also is not there, and there is no notion of I also there.
Hmm.
Because I notion will arise only if there is something other than I,
Hmm.
something or some being other than I. Then there is no I notion also.
Hmm.
Then only pure aham, Shuddha aham. That is it.
So in waking life, in our transaction with the world,
Hmm.
we are constantly going to get this perception and all those things from what
Right.
we see, from what we have to practice Sakshi Bhav there. Sakshi Bhav must start from there, isn't it?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji.
So, shall we conclude now?
Yeah, yes, Swamiji.
I'll have to get this battery changed. It seems it is gone now.
Yeah.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om